All right. Probably live. Let's check. Content maybe live. Let's just go to the channel and see. Looks like we got people in chat already, but I hadn't, all right, so I got to pop that out. I just got to make sure that the stream is actually live. Yes, and I can hear myself twice, so. Okay. All right, so now that is all looking like that's okay, maybe I gotta turn this down a little bit. All right.
Hello.
Hello. All right, we're a little early.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that I was getting green lights. CPU's working a little bit, but we're at 60 FPS. Which one? Turn it up. Oh, there we go. Too loud? Not loud enough?
They're going to turn the music down.
Uh-oh. Getting some feedback. All right. That's not loud enough, right?
They'll turn the music down.
Oh, okay. All right. Are we gonna get on the whiteboard like immediately, or what do we? I said, are we getting on the whiteboard immediately, or what we got going on?
Oh, yeah. We're going to go immediately.
Okay.
Straight to the board.
Well then, I guess does that mean you're not gonna do a run out?
Sure. I'll give them a little something. I know they want to hear it. All right. Can y'all hear me out there, John? Yeah. John O. Do you remember how to say his name?
Yes, I practiced.
Say it.
On your flight check.
It's John O.
I'm not a scrub.
JT, you're better than your dad.
I know. I've been doing this podcast thing a little bit longer. He might be on TV and whatnot, but this form of medium is
A
mine.
little longer. I don't know. Yeah, anyway.
You need to replace Golden, JT, is what you need to do.
I'm working on it.
All right. What time is it?
It is 8:15. So
Is it?
let me. Let's not do that because I haven't hit this button yet.
It's green.
Yeah, see, that's what gets you. It's green. You think it's going. It's not going. It has to be red for stop and record, I guess.
Man, it's a great day to be out here. 6205 Court Road in Plano. We are at the Lannon Street Grill and Tap House. It feels a little bit weird because normally I'm over on that side, but it's what happens when you got kids, I guess. They just come and just bogart you and take all your stuff.
I asked you what chair you sat in. You said it didn't matter. I sat in the middle of the table.
Well, it's not my fault because it's actually their fault. Because actually when I got in here, there was 4 chairs behind here, so I really didn't know what was going on. Normally, yeah, I appreciate it. You know, just throwing my whole game off or whatnot. But it's good to have you here, brother. I'm glad I'm not glad that the football season's over, but I am glad that you're here. Spend some time with the folks, with me, and talk some really good football today.
John didn't even know who I was when I walked in here and said hello to him.
Oh, I guess he didn't recognize your face at least from the.
No, I guess not.
Well, they said TV. Does TV add pounds or Make you look. Which way is it? Yeah. So you look slim.
Well, thank you.
looks
You know,
slim.
I started going to the gym again. First time in 6 years. Started last Wednesday.
Well, congratulations.
I appreciate it.
I make a little bit of fun. Is it the one in your house or is it like the
No,
one?
no. I have a membership to LA Fitness through insurance, so it's a little bit cheaper.
For some reason, I feel like I gave you a membership to Cowboys Fit.
You did, but Cowboys
Too far
Fit,
for you now,
Cowboys Fit is far, and LA Fitness is up the street.
But it's free.
It is free, but you have to go. If you got to pay to go, like if that's the motivation.
Oh,
that
now
you gotta
you're
get to
motivated
go.
because you're spending your money
Right.
and it's not, well, you know, I mean, okay, I get it. Well, can I get my little thing back?
No, you can't. I might want to go in there one day,
You're not going to
just
use
in
it?
case.
Or I give it to Emily for Christmas or something. But anyway, hey, we're going to talk a whole lot of football today, and we're going to jump into that right now. But, you know, I need to say first, before I do this, my run out is real simple. I had a line at my office today on Monday after this Bama game, which I did not get to see live because that was a charity event for Best Buddies. Me and Consuela had a really, really good time with that.
Yeah, it's probably for the best.
Yes, and after watching it, and JT, I have to admit to everyone right now, before we even dive into the chalkboard. Hopefully, you guys will be able to see this behind me, or we'll have to zoom it in somehow.
Yeah, I'll move this camera over and
Or
see if
move
we
it
can
up.
do something.
But I have to admit, you know, I didn't get to watch it, and so it's a little bit different, which may be good because I truly looked at it from an analytical piece and not necessarily from the fan piece. So I was looking at every play, and it took me forever to watch the game. But here's a little thing, man. So my talking point is when you are recording television, I typically put the extended time on it, particularly a game. But I had the recording of the show, the football game, for an extra hour.
Okay.
It
But
did-
it went in overtime.
It did not make it.
Yeah.
Guess when it stopped?
Right before the last play.
Right before Alabama scored, and I did not see what happened with LSU in the overtime.
Oh, well, good. So let me. I could draw it up for you because I'll tell you what. The thing that irritated me the most is because I already knew exactly what they were going to do on the goal line, and my thought before the play was
Wait. Are you fun to give it away already? We're
no.
gonna-
Well,
okay.
kind of, maybe.
All right. I mean, if you want to jump straight to it, I want to talk a little bit of philosophy first, what defense is and all this kind of stuff, and then maybe that ties into why they were able to execute
Okay.
that play.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we got, I guess, an hour and some change, we can even go into why you would be in the front that they were in the first place, because that's the new hotness. I've been doing a lot of research and some deep diving on that because I kind of like it, but you have to know what your with any front, right? You got to know what your weaknesses are and how they're going to attack you and what your answers are.
We need to hit a whole lot of the fronts. I know that we were texting and going back and forth about what things are, and I have some issues or concerns, maybe sometime, and philosophy maybe. They work. They can work. I did have a little brief conversation with John O., my faithful guy. Thank you for coming out and always being here. I'm going to have to show off my shirt that he has. He's doing great things for the University of Alabama. So we're really, really happy that he's come out here to Lantern Street. So he's tried the wings. He turned me on to the cheese sticks. I didn't even know how good their cheese sticks were
Yeah,
here.
so
JT.
let me go ahead and get an order of wings and cheese sticks because that's what I'm here for. I'm not here for the show. I'm here for the wings and cheese sticks.
Yeah.
What flavor wings?
Lemon pepper, please.
Garlic palm, hot Thai, mango habanero. Whoa.
I think I'm going to just go with garlic palm.
I'm out on anything habanero.
10, please.
I'm
Thank you.
out on anything habanero. Yeah, them cheese sticks for your boy too. So
You want some too, George?
the cheese sticks. All right. Yeah. See, y'all get to hear my orders and everything else up in here. We're gonna tell you what kind of food we ordered. Oh, I need a Coogee or something. I guess maybe. This is a
Not a sponsor.
Sprite.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. All right, JT. So when I was breaking this down, can we go ahead and just dive into it? Because I know it's going
Yeah,
to take
you
us
want
a
to talk
while
first,
to
or
get
do
this.
you want to move and get on the board right now?
No. Let me talk about what I did first,
Okay.
okay, and how we did it. So I really broke this down. I did look at the offense to get some talking points on that. What's good, what's bad. Not a whole lot, but there are some things that I would like to talk about.
Okay. Well,
Defense
I want to know.
heavy.
I want to know your answer to my qualms that I have with the offense. Like, what are your thoughts? So what I said was, I refuse to believe that it's our receivers that can't get down the field. That it must be play calling.
Yes, I agree with you in that. And I think our athletes are good, our players are good and have the resources to it. But so to go ahead and dive into that, one of the things I actually wrote up on here on the board, and someone had mentioned this to me on Twitter, saying, hey, what is the same question that you had basically? And what I saw was, and I think this is coaching, one part of it is our wide receivers, and you know this because you played wide receiver and defensive back in college.
I did.
Right?
Yep.
I'm sure they told you sometimes you got to be able to throttle down and not run into coverage if there's a big old open spot in zone.
All
coverage.
the time. The beauty of our offense, which surprisingly enough is actually Eastern Michigan's offense. That's the offense that I played in. Well, I didn't play at Eastern Michigan, but the coach is there now, and that's the offense they run. And since Eastern Michigan also doesn't have a lot of fans at their games, you can hear the entire cadence.
All the plays.
Yeah, so I know-
Are they the same calls?
They're the same calls. I know exactly what play is coming when watching Eastern Michigan games. But the point is, that entire playbook, every route is an option route.
Okay.
So you have to be able to read. It's not just the quarterback. The receiver also has to be able to read the coverage and understand whether it's man, whether it's zone, how to attack certain coverages, and you have to be right because you and the quarterback got to be on the same page.
Well, that is not what's happening with us. So I saw guys running through the open pieces where Bryce was looking for them to settle or whatever, and we were just running the dig. So I got a very good. So I actually put it here, and I can put it on the board, but you can let it see. So I don't know. Just remind me to make sure that I draw this up so I can give people the illustration, those that are looking, for those that are listening to it in the post
Yes.
show or whatever. We appreciate you guys listening as well. But we have a lot of bunch routes where, there's crosses in the back and someone always runs the dig. Well, the dig route was not stopping or throttling down where the window was. He's running right past it on, threw it over to the coverage. So that's the first thing.
I will say, though, I'm not sure. I understand that, yeah, you got to slow down in the window on digs, but at the same time, the digs just got to be on time. You got to throw it.
Well, you want to hit it when he's coming out of his cut. Typically, that's what I'm saying. As
Wait,
a coach.
you got two
Particularly when
windows.
there's cover two. So, and the play that I'm particularly talking about. Now you're going to force me to draw it up, right? Okay, but I didn't do it. I already had some things
Okay, well, we can wait.
Pre-drawn up here. But anyway, so the receivers weren't throttling. Jahmyr Gibbs, excellent man, running the ball, catching the ball, all the kind of stuff. He's a dynamic playmaker. I thought he did good. Latham had a horrible game. He was getting beat left and right by a lot of people.
Was Latham? You have to tell me, John. Was Latham the one that came in after Stern got hurt?
He's the starting right tackle.
Starting right tackle.
Never mind.
No, he was getting torched. Bad. So that wasn't good. So they really weren't doing that. I thought there were some times where they're not giving Bryce, and again, let me put my disclaimer in. That's my word up there. I am speaking totally from an opinion-based, just someone watching the film, watching the game tape. I have no inside knowledge. I have not talked to any coaches at the University of Alabama or any of that stuff to really know what they were thinking, what the mistakes were, really happened. This is truly just someone watching the film, like an analyst saying, this is what I think. So this is all my opinion. Okay. So one of the things that we would set up plays, which I thought were good setup plays, but we didn't take advantage of what was happening. Meaning, things that look like zone read or RPOs. The Bryce would not pull it when he had a lot of the opportunities to pull it and come out the back door, kind of, give his little fake or whatnot, and a lot of times he actually should have pulled it. So I do have that. I do have that drawn up where there are things where he should have kept the ball and kept on trucking. All right. My biggest bullet point, JT, and I don't know how much you deal with this. You are a defensive coordinator as well. If there's anything you can take from me out of this show, motions have to mean something, or you're trying to set something up with the motion.
Oh,
right?
well, yeah. I mean, I think that's what I was trying to get at when I was saying, like, the confusion of they were using motion, at least in the clips that you sent me. It looked like they were using motion not necessarily to well, let me back up. Because there are many reasons why you would use motion. You'd use motion to flip the strength from one side to the other side. Try to gain numbers if you know they're not going to move. You can use motion to get into a particular formation to where you know that the defense is going to check to a certain coverage, or they're going to check to a certain look that you want to exploit. Or in this case, you can do what it looks like LSU was doing, was motioning to take advantage of the lack of discipline when it comes to eye discipline.
Yes, but you know what you did is you actually hit on a lot of points that since I was talking about Alabama's offense and the lack of, we motion a lot on, so I'm going to come back to what you're saying. Yes, you do have to, would you put motion to force them into something.
Yeah.
So from our side, and make sure you remind me, you probably need to be jotting some of this stuff down on all the things you need to remind me, is that basically LSU was motioning because we had the same blitz out of every motion. They knew that the guy's going to come away from the tight end that motion. I saw it. We never really adjusted to it, and that's where, thank you, sir.
Yes.
Things were opening up and stuff of that nature.
How about a Miller draft? Thank you.
And Alabama, we motioned quite a bit, tight ends, different things. Go back and watch the film. The LSU didn't even really move or adjust. It was like they kind of thought, hey, they're just kind of doing these motions, but it's not really meaning anything. Forget all that.
Yeah.
We know where the back is. We know where the quarterback is.
It's funny that you say that because, our last game was against Coram Deo. I don't know if you were there on that Saturday, but Coram Deo runs motion all the time. And when I'm watching the film, I had gotten to a point where, as a coordinator, you're trying to figure out, all right, well, when they do this, like, do we need to check for something? And I said, forget it. If they motion, we're playing the call. We're already at single high anyway. We got both the safeties down there. The only time we're going to do anything is if they come out in trips and we're in too high. If they motion, thank you, at all. And I told the kids, I said, I don't care. Don't wait till he goes all the way across because you don't know. You don't know whether he's going all the way across. You don't know if he stopped. You don't know if he's going to return. If anybody starts moving, just go ahead and roll down and get back to single high. Don't even worry about it because they're motioning just to mess with your eyes.
It looks good. To me, I feel that's what Bama is. This is my first time getting to hear the little chirps and sounds because I'm never plugged into the board, so I'm kind of feel like something's in my ear over here.
Yeah,
like what is going on?
I got
You can keep it. I think it's kind of
Discord.
cool. I think it's kind of cool. I just don't know what I never heard it before.
People are messaging me.
Hopefully they're saying something good.
No, this is completely unrelated.
Oh, this is your personal stuff over here that I'm hearing too. So yeah, so I'm looking at the motion. I'm watching him not do anything, and I'm thinking, hey, we got a problem here. You know, we're moving the tight end over, and then the motion goes back the other way, and they do that whirly bird motion and all that, and they weren't doing anything, and so it made me think of exactly what you said when I was coaching and speaking to my team. That had a coach that liked to do a lot of motion and all that. And I'm like, why are we motioning? You're not doing anything other than just calling it and making someone run across the field and make them tired, when it doesn't mean anything if we're not trying to see something. Are we creating a advantage somewhere other than just moving, and we're still going to run inside zone, outside zone?
Yeah. So I mean, I gotta give Granado his props, because we had talked about it. He was using motion to figure out whether or not we were actually going to get the defense to roll or not. Since Cormdale's head coach was my defense coordinator in high school, I knew what he liked to do to trips, and I said, I don't know if he's going to do it every time. I've been out of high school for 10 years now.
Oh.
I know. But he was using motion on plays that didn't particularly matter. Like, we were running inside zone anyway, but we'd motion our trips just to see, hey, is that safety going to roll? Because if we're going to see he's going to roll, we got something for him. But if they're not going to roll, then, you got.
Don't need the motion.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So those are really kind of my deals there. Offense, we're running motions that we don't need to run, and therefore I think it makes our offense simple. That we're just trying to out-athlete people, even on defense. We'll get into that.
A quick shout-out to some people in the chat.
All right.
James Knox is here. The Bama Standard and Justin's here. And we have somebody that I've never seen comment before. Fantasy Football GOAT Strategies.
Oh, yeah. That's one of my Twitter buddies.
Oh.
Thank you for coming on in, brother.
Welcome.
Yeah. Welcome.
James Knox says the QBs don't carry out any fakes or motions once they hand off the ball either.
Nope. No, that goes into my part of the way. Hey, we need to pull the ball sometime if you're actually trying to read it in, because they weren't caring. They wasn't. Bryce Young wasn't a running threat.
I don't even think he wants to. I still don't think he actually wants to.
He's little, man.
He is.
I got to send out the video. I keep forgetting to tweet the doggone video when I was at the game standing next to him. And I knew he was little because I saw him in the autograph session before, and I was like, that dude's tiny.
He's like 5'9".
But then I saw him again. I'm like, he had his pads on and his helmet on, and I was still like guying over him. Most guys. I was standing next to Will Anderson too, and then I was looking at him like, good Lord, that dude is a beast. That is a man, right there. Okay, all right. So those are the talking points before we get on this board a little bit. From the defensive side, JT, what did I see? Kind of. I think we kind of talked about it a little bit via text, just through video and all that kind of stuff. We got to find out if we're sound or not sound, based upon the front call, the back end call. Are people just making mistakes? Is it too complicated for them to learn? I hadn't kind of put all of that together yet. I got a strong opinion about it, though.
Okay. I feel like my opinion might be a little bit different from yours, but we'll see. I don't know what your opinion is.
Well, let me frame it this way before we do this. And I'm glad that you are now a play caller, signal caller, and doing this kind of thing. Right. So what I've seen out of this is I think the scheme can be sound. So let me back up a second. For those of you who don't know about defense, you're kind of talking about you're either a single gap defense, everybody's responsible for a gap. Right? I'm always looking at that. I'm kind of simple-minded like that everybody should have a gap. Or you can have people who have to play two gaps. So you're playing head up, 0 or 2s, and sometimes you tell them, hey, you got to play both gaps. And which means sometimes you can go all out, either give up a gap because you think someone's going to beat someone, or have calls like peel, which I put in, or we talked about that, right? So I'm going to go back to, I'm going to say there's some things in practice where maybe we're not showing them what they need to see so you don't make critical mistakes like that. So when Nick Saban goes
I
over
agree
there
with that.
to him and says, man, you're supposed to peel, it automatically makes me think you got to put that guy in a bad situation in practice. Not a whole lot.
Well,
you gotta,
I do it all the time.
You got to show them the easy stuff, and then you got to say, the what if is what I talk to you about. Hey, if they're not giving them the what if, okay, this guy might run a flare. He may have never done it the whole time, but when he does, you got to take him. So you got to put that in the practice somewhere, individual.
Something I started doing later on in the year, 7-on-7, a lot during practice was, because you can script. I get to pick both, right? I get to pick the offensive play and the defensive play, so you can.
Wee.
Oh yeah, thank you. So you can script your coverage to beat.
To be perfect and make
Right.
yourself look good in practice.
But what I was doing was intentionally putting our safeties sometimes in bad situations.
No.
Just saying like, hey, I just want to see how they'd react sometimes. Saying like, hey, you're supposed to, this is what your alignment is, and this is the call, and it's a bad call, and I know this guy's going to go on a go route, but you got to get from here to the sideline. Can you do it? And I would think of those worst case scenarios and be like, all right, if this happens, and we're in this coverage, is just a touchdown. That's what's going on. So I might just leave that call off the play sheet altogether. Not because the coverage doesn't work, but that guy that I have that's supposed to be getting over the top
Can't
can't.
get there. Yep.
So we say, well,
You're putting him in the back. You're not putting him in the most favorable position to be successful.
right. So I find that out in practice. So come time for the game, we just say, we're not going to do that because I'm afraid of X, Y, Z. And you never know what kind of wrinkles they're going to bring to the table on Friday. They're game planning just like you game planning.
That's right. Every call is not going to be perfect. So I saw some of that where I actually thought, hey, this is happening too much. I don't know if they're seeing enough of it in practice. And it wasn't just, one guy, but it was the same type of thing where the peel routes, the running backs. Now, I've always been saying we're not covering the running backs out of the backfield. Well, this is the first time I actually looked at it like this. And I'm like, well, good Lord, they're making the defensive end or the outside linebacker have to do two things, and he's having to choose, am I going to go for the inside run or, if there's two backs in there, am I going for the dive or am I taking the running back on
Craig's
the pitch?
here. Hi, Craig.
Hey, Craig. That kind of thing. So I got a whole lot of negative, and I don't want to be that guy because it's not like I'm giving up or being a Debbie Downer. I just think that, in my opinion, I just think we could do some of the stuff better, and we're in it. We are. I feel like I'm gonna sum it up for you guys now. I feel like we want the one-on-one matchups, and we feel like we should be able to whoop anybody, whether it's a lineman in front of us, a tight end, or something. Even if we have to give up some type of gap or something, we feel like our guys can win to cover up for that weakness in the defense. And people are finding ways to exploit us. LSU find a way to exploit us through motions, getting our guys out of position, and running.
And putting guys in conflict that you don't want it. Somebody on defense is always going to be in conflict. But as you were saying, one of the things that you don't want to have in conflict is a defensive end that's trying to figure out whether he's supposed to take the dive or drop into some kind of pass coverage. That's not a conflict that he should be. His conflict should be dive or quarterback. He's good at that, or he can be good at that. But
Yes.
he shouldn't have to be wondering
Run or
dive or
pass.
bubble.
Yes, you can't do that. And I saw some of that in the hesitation, so he's wrong either way. Might not necessarily turn into a touchdown, but that's what was.
Question we have is, do you feel like our players trust Pete Golding's play calling?
Yes, I do. I just don't think they can. How do I put it? I think we're extremely complex.
Yeah, I
And we're
feel
making them think too much.
I feel like no, I don't know. Maybe it's not true, but I feel like even in college, you still don't know enough to really
You
question.
can't question. You don't know. The guy's the defensive coordinator at Alabama. You don't question who that is.
Yeah, I mean,
Under Nick
you
Saban. You can't walk into the office or be walking around and saying, "What the hell are you doing, coach?" Or get caught because you're gonna get.
I feel
Okay.
like you also don't recruit those guys either. Like the guy that would be like, yeah, my DC doesn't know what he's doing would. That's not a recipe for getting recruited anywhere, really.
Well, you don't have to do that now because you can transfer. You can leave. Right? All right. So, yeah, I can move this up a little bit. If need
All right,
be.
well, I can move the. Let's move this.
All right, y'all. I don't know if y'all really like a whole lot of football over there, but we're talking like real football. Now, real football today. Let's see. Okay, I see you. Oh, I guess I could turn the light if I need to. Check this out. Or I can turn it up. How about that? It'll brighten us a little bit. What about that?
Somebody in the chat's gonna have to let me know if we need to do much better than what we got here for this whiteboard. Otherwise, I'm inclined to say that it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, this good. Looks good. All right. So one of the things that we talk about as coaches, right? Which I thought LSU did a tremendous job was you hear about it, you probably never pay attention to it when you're watching TV. Is the first 15? What are they actually doing? What is the offensive coordinator calling in those first 15 plays? It is really big time in college and in pros. They just got the script. They're going to go down it. If you go score a touchdown or you have to make some adjustments, you can. But even me as a head coach, I was always asking the coach, hey, what are you going to do in these first 15 plays of offense? Because the first 15 plays aren't necessarily to try to go score. You want it to be that way, but you're trying to get a beat on every adjustment that they're going to make. So you try to give them all the formations that you can, jumping trips, jumping 2x2, send a motion this way, send a motion that way. So in the first 15, you kind of got an idea what you were saying. Hey, what are they going to do? How are they going to adjust?
So are you telling me that this is why they didn't score for the first, I don't know, 2-3 drives?
LSU?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you go back and look, there were a lot of formations that they wanted to see, okay, how are they going to adjust to this? And that's where then you kind of roll into it. And then at halftime when you have your meeting, you go in and talk and say, hey, man, we ran this 2 or 3 times. They didn't do whatever. Okay? So in that first 15, JT and audience, we saw 2x2, one that included tight end, one didn't, 4 wides. We saw trips with tight ends or 4 wides. We saw empty with 11 personnel with the running back out wide. I got this drawn up right here because it was very, very interesting. We saw quads, 4 to one side, and then the other. These aren't all normal plays that you just line up in, right? They were really trying to get an idea of what we were trying to do. So when I actually saw this, if you're looking at this, I drew an RB up here. I don't know if you guys can see where my finger is pointing. It is an empty set. There's 3 wide receivers. If I'm facing the board, if you're listening to this, I got 3 receivers to the left. Well, what looks like 3 receivers to the left and 2 receivers to the right. There's a quarterback right here.
Right, but you got you have the running back as the number 1 receiver, strong side.
Yes. So what was interesting, JT, is that we stayed in nickel, 5 DBs.
Yeah, we do this all. I mean, teams do this all the time.
Well, yes, and they do. So which forced, and if you go back and look at it, first Kool-Aid was out here, the backer was in here, and then he moved him.
Recipe for disaster.
Yes, he moved him out like he should have to where he was one-on-one with them, and we basically played 10-on-10. Hey, running back, linebacker, you take him. We're going to leave you out. We're going to play 10-on-10 over here. So we play regular old defense. That's fine until you start to getting into, now you're a defensive coordinator too. Once you start looking in here.
Yeah, see, I don't like that. That's why I'm like, obviously somebody knows something that I don't know because Alabama's not the only team that does this. Florida does it. LSU does it.
You're talking about this offensive set or putting?
No, moving the backer out there with the running back when they go empty. They always do this, and it's not just Alabama. I mean, Georgia does it. I don't understand how they get away with doing it.
Well, so a lot of people, even if you look in the pros, they'll put the guy out there because they want to see. So they're always trying to get you to give a tail. A tail meaning show your hand. What are you in? Because if you put this guy out here, you automatically know this guy is kind of out of the run fit, basically. So, Cowboy fans, you see Zeke go out here or Pollard, and then they move him back in here just because they're trying to get a set. Why I don't like it, all right, is particularly what we're playing. We're still essentially playing man-to-man with these other guys. So, I got up here. JT will like this. The football is all about math. You're just counting people and gaps and spaces. All right, so there's 5 offensive linemen here where there's only 5 defenders in the box. I'm sure you're saying, John, so what's the big deal?
There's 6 gaps.
The problem is there's a lot of gaps. They got 5 blockers for 5 people, and you have a quarterback that can run the ball. So essentially you can win on offense with this. So they're just looking. They might have had a pass play. They're not changing. They're just going, hey, just run the pass play. But we want to see what's going on. We got busted on that play. Okay. Now, Nick Saban and those guys, for whatever reason, there was some kind of tendency. There was some kind of something. The next time they came out in this play, they had 6 defensive backs on the field. Took one of the backers out, and they put the brought in Malachi, to come play in there as well. So there's a big chess match in it. But this one was very interesting to me because of the show that they did. Now, from here, if I can erase one guy from this 2 receiver side, so 3 receivers to the left, there was 2, so I'm taking one off the 2 receiver side and putting him over on the other side where there's now 4 people to one side, which is going to force you to move a safety. So we kind of rocked and rolled. We move a safety up, move him over, move him back. We're still weak in here. We didn't do anything. We kind of helped ourselves. We got 4 over 4, 2 over 1. Then you still got your box undershot. Okay, so I don't know, philosophy, this type of thing doesn't really matter, right? So Nick started thinking, well, I need to blitz. I need to try to do some things to try to get them out of this kind of stuff. And it worked out all right to get them out of that. But it goes back to that first 15. There's my first thing I need to talk about. That they did a really good job LSU did a really good job of trying to see what we were going to be doing and make the adjustments as they needed, which they did. Okay? Any questions about that? Anybody? We good? We good? We good? I can't hear y'all if y'all saying something, so you better speak up. You better put it in the chat because I can't hear you. All right? All right. So this was done. We can erase. I'll erase that. All right.
Siri heard you.
What the heck was that?
That was my watch.
Oh, okay. So this is a big one. Trips. Doesn't matter if it's right or left. I got this drawn up. Trips. Here's the deal, JT. and we've kind of talked about this when you're trying to strategize. There's a big difference in trips when this running back is lined up to the trip side or if he's lined up away.
Whether it's gun near or gun far.
Yes. So I always try to figure out, as we talk about, is that the same as this? Quads.
Yeah, are they lining up like that for the running back to be a fourth receiver on that side, or not? Because I mean, they're
Oh, you are so good. What? That's like a layup. That's like a alley oop that you just gave me.
because there are some teams that'll put them over there, and there are RPO teams. A Baylor back in the day would put the back over there, not necessarily because they planned on getting him out in a route, but because they wanted the bubble to be over there for the RPO. But
So
LSU may not be what they do. I don't think LSU is an RPO team. I think they're a power option team.
No, but this is what they were. So let me break it down for you a little bit. Okay. High level stuff we're getting in here. All right. So you can line up like this, the typical route that LSU is running. They did let me look at my sheet, make sure I got it right for you here. All right. Hooking up. When I'm saying hook, that's 10-yard, 8-yard, whatever, curl, running him off. Now, we're in man most of the time, or they're trying to read it somehow. So he goes and takes him. He might have him. He typically takes this guy from deep, and this guy is trying to read the run, reading this backer right here a lot of times, okay, because that makes 6, 7, so we got another backer that's in there. But the problem is he's outside of the box because he's apexing or at least getting outside of this guy because sometimes he'll push to him. That's what I'm going to get to for my next one. So
we ran into this problem. I had a front adjustment for this,
yeah.
which was we actually moved. So I don't know if you actually put the shades in there like they're supposed to be.
This
I don't
how
know
we
if
started.
they were in 2-3s or
More
twos.
twos. That's what I was
So-
talking about, whether or not they have one gap or two gaps.
So we would move the end to a 4-eye.
On this side?
Yep. Move the
Okay,
tackle
4-eye means
inside shade of the
inside shade of the tackle.
tackle. The tackle, the defensive tackle, would then be shaded on the center, or you can put him in a
one?
2-eye. Doesn't matter. Yeah, 1 or a 2-eye. For us, it was a 1. And then the opposite tackle would then go to a 3. So it was basically an under. It's basically an under front, except you don't have he's not a 5 out there. He's a 4-eye. So that the backer can walk out, and we gap exchange, and the backer now has C gap instead of B, because he was the guy in conflict.
That's right. Okay, so let me explain everybody to that first. So we can do this. For those of you guys who are looking, these are all numbered. If you're a novice, right, head up the center. You're looking at me right here. That's a 0. Okay, outside shade of the center are 1s. Head up the guard are 2s. Both sides, doesn't matter. You could call it a negative or positive or whatever. Inside the guard, 2I. Anybody know what I stands for? Inside. 2 inside. Outside the guard, anybody want to guess what outside the guard is? It's not a 2-0. It is a 3. Good try, though. It's not a 2-0. It is a 3. Head up the tackle. John O is a what? It is a 4. Inside the tackle is a 4-eye. Outside the tackle is a, it's not a 4-0. It's a 5. It is a 5.
Yeah, and then all the rules break down when you put a tight end in there.
When you
'cause
put
it's
a
stupid.
tight end out here,
Then somebody got all big brain.
yes, stupid. You would think it would go
It's 6 eyes, 6,
6,
7.
6-eye, and 7.
But yeah, I don't.
But that's not what they say. It's a 7, a 8, and a 9, or whatever. But anyway, we won't get into that.
7-6-9.
7, 6, 9. Sorry. So 6, 7, 9. All right. So let me go back to what I was saying. Give me one of them pieces of napkin right there or something. Yeah, I had some other ones. But all right. So I want to get back to this because this is what the adjustment that was very evident to me on what LSU did to us based upon what they seen off of trips. Okay? So I'm going to go back to 2x2. That means I'm saying 2x2. Typically, this was a tight end, wide receiver, running back. Okay? RB
Well,
right here.
that matters, right? I mean, it's 2x2, but this is 11 personnel, which would probably determine what personnel you have on defense.
That's right.
If you have that many kids, if you have as many kids as Alabama would.
So now remember what I just said about deciding whether or not this looks like a quad set or not, okay? So what LSU started doing after they knew what our adjustments were, because it gets the same as they were sending this guy in motion, it looks exactly the same if you just took a picture of it right there. Once he come over, it looks exactly the same. And they knew what kind of adjustments we were going to make. So this is where we start running into issues. I'm just going to draw it back up the way that I had it. Or actually, let me draw it up the way I got it on my piece of paper. So, JT, they made your adjustment. Actually,
Oh, they did?
They made a nose to tackle.
Nice.
In the end.
Look at me. Know what I'm doing.
And in the end. Now, because it was 2x2, they had a backer out here. They had a backer in the middle.
That's strange, though. I wouldn't have did that, but that's
Because he still got this gap over here, right? In the beginning.
yeah. But who's got a gap?
How do we play our? No. Well, so the way that we play our safeties, I won't say that's a. I hear somebody whisper my name over there. I got one speaker off so I could hear y'all. One thing off. Okay, so it kind of looks like that. They still got this 5 in the box. All right. Well, here was our adjustment, JT, and this they did it several times. So when he went in motion, to answer your question, he would bump back in the box like he's supposed to. He would bump over. He would blitz. He would blitz.
I mean, that works if you're expecting zone.
It does, but now we got to count. Remember, I just told you football was math. 1, 2, 3, for 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. Right? Mm-hmm. So he took off. Man to man. He runs up the field kind of vertical. He takes him man to man. He kind of runs behind him, kind of runs a wheelish kind of route, man to man. This guy goes out. This guy has to cover him. That's the pill route. I don't like it. Right? Necessarily, because he couldn't, right? Because he's looking back here as run, any kind of stuff. This guy's flashing his face. He don't know if he's going to get blocked or anything, right? So he's slow. Then by the time he realizes, oh, I got this guy, he's late. Then he goes over and gets chewed out by it. Okay. So you got one extra guy over here overhanging it. Ray basically has nothing to do. He's doubling with this guy.
Well, I mean, if he really has nothing to do, the adjustment that I would make, just looking at this, seems like he should be this free safety, not the actual free safety, but the safety that is free. No, like if you want to bring somebody up the B gap, Send him late. This guy.
You could. You still got.
If that's
You
the
still
blitz
want to
path
peel
that
the
you
end,
want.
or do you want to take this?
No, I
backer
want to
out?
take the backer out.
You got to pull the backer out.
Pull the backer out and have the safety that is free replace that pressure. If that's the blitz path that you want to die by,
That's correct.
bring it from depth rather than
Yes. So they did a lot of stuff like this, and we sent the.
he needs the bump.
Me and JT watched a lot of videos like this because I was watching it. So this motion was very prevalent. I'm going to erase this so you guys can see a little bit. So then they would have the same motion. Again, it's all about smoke and mirrors and what do you actually see. They'd have the same motion, but then they'd stop him right here. And this is where we kind of had our discussion, right, of him. So once he came over, he could stop. Think about what I just said. If we bumped over, he had two choices. He could go behind the line of scrimmage,
Which is what he did in the clip that we watched.
where you went behind the line of scrimmage, right? These guys start going this way. Think about the backers, stuff going this way. So they actually pick up everybody, and this guy had a running lane. He had to be a solo one-on-one tackler on the backside. Right. What I was worried about, which they did get to, also.
Now, in this case though, in this particular play, they were in a different front.
They were in two. They had them both head up, I think.
No, it was.
No, they had a three. They had
they
a
went three,
zero.
They went three down. It was 2-4 eyes.
Tackle.
It was 2-4 eyes and a zero.
Yes.
Both backers were in the box because he didn't actually motion in this particular one. He was
sitting
lined
over
up over there. Right, and this is where we were having the conversation of who's supposed to spill, who's supposed to box.
So they had. Well, that was with the puller.
Oh, right, because
first.
then
That was with the puller.
the tight end slipped out
Yes.
for a
that
pass.
was with
Never
the
mind.
puller, so
You're
I
right.
got
You're
you
right.
there. That was with the puller. Okay, but needless to say, either way, they were using this tight end so many different ways that our backers and our ends had to figure out what was going on. One of the things that I did see in the league is that they always had some kind of call from both sides when this guy would go behind the line and they would run the zone play. And so if you guys remember, they ran that a lot. He went here. He would actually go out for a pass. He would fake the run. Or actually, it was this way. Fake. I think on that last 2 minute, play, it wasn't that, but it was fast motion behind the line of scrimmage to the flat. It's the exact same.
Well, he motioned. So they started in trips to one side. They had three receivers on one side. Tight end motions across the formation to go back to 2-by-2. And that's where I said this is where I thought the confusion comes in. Because that backer. Yeah, so you wanna draw that back up.
No. What did you say? 2-by-2?
No, give me 3-by-1.
What side?
Left.
This
Other
left?
side. Yep. So in this coverage, because they dropped the zone. So if you want to put your the 2-4 eyes, a nose. Yep, zero. And then you had two backers in the box. One shaded over a little bit, but that didn't matter.
Where was this guy? We still had two safeties
Yeah,
like this.
still had two safeties.
Missing one.
You've got another backer out here, or I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he's a safety or what he is.
Somebody.
So now the number 3 receiver, that the backer to his side usually is probably going to be dropping in zone 3-2.
Okay. So when it says 3-2, this is one.
1, that's
This
2,
is 2.
that's
This
3.
is 3. So he's reading. This guy is reading from him to him.
Right. So if 2 releases vertical, if he goes down the field, and 3 goes to the flat, then the backer has the one that went to the flat.
He's gonna go through like that.
That's really all that we need to set the stage for here. This is if they lined up and ran it from right here.
Yep.
So now you take that number 3 receiver and you put him in motion, and he's a wing now. So he's a wing on that side. Right. So now it's a 2x2 set. And what I think happened, was that now that he's disappeared, he's gone to the other side of the formation,
His
the
eyes
backer
ain't on him.
has forgot about that dude. He says now he's number 2 on the opposite side. That's not my guy. But on the snap, he runs behind the line of scrimmage and pops out in the flat. And you still get the vertical by number 2. So the problem that you end up having,
Chasing. One of these guys was chasing.
right, is that it's the same play but from a different presentation.
Great way to put it.
And
I just-
you prey on the motion is preying on what I was talking about earlier, that eye discipline of you knew you had him when he stood over here. So now I'm going to move him
same
somewhere
guy.
else. So
The
now
same
you
guy.
don't think you have him, and then I'm going to make sure that he ends up in the same spot anyway. And because he kind of just shows up in the flat like that, you've got the linebacker looking at run pass, trying to figure out where he needs to insert, those kind of things. And whoops, there goes the tight end right in front of his face, but he's not looking at him because he wasn't on that side of the ball to begin with.
Well, because there's so many other things you got to look at.
Yeah.
He's still thinking run. He's doing all this other stuff. So it kind of got down here into this. We already kind of jumped down into this part where they ran that route and put him in
You
conflict.
want to talk about the 2-point play? Because I have hot takes.
All right.
All right.
Our 2-point play or their 2-point
No,
play?
their 2-point play. I don't even know what happened with our 2-point plays. They looked like they were garbage, so I didn't.
I don't know what they ran, so you're probably going to have to draw it up. Or
I'm gonna tell you. So it's give me
5 linemen.
Yep, give me 5 linemen. Put the trips
Quarterback.
on the defense's right.
Wide trips. Okay.
Yep.
You know what a running back
Trips
is?
open. Doesn't matter. You can put him on the other side. So now you can give me 4 down, 2 backers, but it's man-to-man.
Okay. Tackle. End. Backer. Man. Everybody's man over here
Yep,
too?
you got a nickel or a
Inside.
star and another safety.
Will they press?
It was obvious. They showed it. It was obvious it was man-to-man. So,
Where's his other safety? He's over here on man-to-man on the
yeah,
back?
probably. Again, doesn't matter where he's at. So, I'm sure you already, just knowing what the formation is, that it's a 2-point play, you probably already know what they ran. And I understand, so I want to make it very clear. Yes. Joey Boy, the Golden Lord, yes, the 2-point play in which they won. We'll get to the other question in a minute. I understand why you run man in this situation, but I also, if I am,
So he's saying, man, he's got him. He's
Yes.
got him. He's got him. He's got him. Somebody got him. We're going to assume it's our safety.
yeah. So now, again, you get a little bit of motion. You get return motion with number 3 because he's a tight end still.
Okay.
So number 3 starts motioning across and then he comes back.
That direction.
And he's going to run a flat route. And you got 2 hitches. So what happens is the safety that is on number 3 starts to arc behind the backers. Now he goes behind the backers first with the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's following the motion
Yep.
first.
Then he
He's trying to beat him
busts
on.
you. Yep. And now he has to work through traffic.
Now he's late.
Yep. He has to get through 4 guys in order to get to.
Get down to here.
Yes.
He can't.
Now,
He
he
can't.
can't. He can't. Right.
can't.
He can't. Here's my problem with this. You lost a national championship game on this same exact play from the same yard line. Like, how many times does Hunter Renfrow have to do this to you in one game before you decide, hey, on short yardage, like, either we got to zone this up or we got to – you have to – I don't know what the answer is, but you got to have a plan for this because for the life of me, I cannot understand why Texas A&M didn't just run this.
I'll tell you what my answer is, because we used to do it. Especially if this guy's in the backfield and not out there. Mm-hmm. If he's coming in fast motion, you don't have to beat him.
He does.
Let him go. He needs to move. Now, he might run a flare on you or something, but
I just have the backer take.
You know that when they start running fast that they're trying to get to the flats super quick. So we would always adjust. Hey! So, because if he came back, I need to be behind him. Typically, they do tell the safety to beat him to the other side. So he has to haul ass just in case he does do that he has to go get it. In that case, on the goal line, he's never going to make it. Right,
so, yeah, so I'm just – my immediate thought when they were lining up for the 2-point play to win the game, I was like, oh, this is – they're running a rub route. I don't know which one of the three guys is going to be the one that's going to be rubbed off.
Do y'all know what a rub route is? Rub route is a fancy way of saying pick 'em.
Yeah.
That you're trying to rub a guy out.
It's the basketball equivalent, or it's the football equivalent of a basketball pick and roll.
Yes, that's right.
And in my mind, I was like, that's coming. So man to man, if you're a defense that is not going to switch man to man, which I don't advise,
right?
But if you're not going to switch man to man, you have to have an answer for a rub route.
Only down here if you're on the 2-yard line.
Yeah.
1 yard line.
Well, and especially to win the game. I mean, because this has happened to you before. It'd be one thing, and it's like, oh, man, we've never seen this before. But I distinctly remember Deshaun Watson and Hunter Renfrow killing us on the goal line with 3 seconds left. You're on the 2-yard line, and they run the exact same play.
Well.
And I'm willing to bet that whoever the offensive coordinator is.
Though.
I'm willing to bet whoever the offense coordinator is was like, yeah, if we got a 2-point play.
But are you talking about talking about Saban now and not knowing what he's going to get?
Maybe. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I guess the buck stops with him because I can't remember if Golden was the DC then in 2016. I don't think he was.
I don't know. When did Kirby leave?
Yeah, Tosh. Well, I don't know if Tosh was a very good DC anyway. But that seems like that's experience that you should lean on and be like, hey, because I know they go through their due diligence and say, what 2-point plays might we get in certain scenarios? And I just, for the life of me, I cannot imagine why you wouldn't just cover up 2-point plays that you've been beaten on in big moments before.
Okay. I know we're an hour in. One thing that we didn't do that we just need to point on is we didn't tackle very well.
We tackled absolutely terribly.
We missed a lot of tackles, but we were forced into open field tackles down the field too. All right, so I need to give you just a little bit of offensive stuff that I wanted to point out.
Yeah, we have a question that I banked.
Go ahead.
This question is from James Knox. Is it wrong for me to question Bryce Young's football IQ or awareness if he's seen the offensive average 295 rushing yards in 6 quarters without him, but doesn't want to use his team leader status, get same/close? Uh-oh.
Say what? Huh? Can you read that again?
I'm trying to find it. Hold on.
What? Did anybody understand what he just said?
As I started reading, I didn't understand the question. But I think the main part is in the first part. Is it wrong for me to question Bryce Young's football IQ?
I'm gonna go with yeah. I still think I think we've seen both, meaning type of players. Me and you, we've seen both players who understand how to read defenses and those who can't. I still think if you don't have when your guys are covered up, you can't just throw the ball into anybody. And also, in college, you don't necessarily have the freedom to do a whole lot of changing plays, right? You know, you kind of go what you go, and you got to read through your progressions, and if it ain't there, then you start running around and trying to figure out.
I will say, when I was in college, our quarterback changed plays all the time.
Well,
So much so that they didn't even call plays from the sideline half the time.
when you got a guy like that,
Yeah,
you
but
got to
Mike-
think of
Mike
how
was
we
the man.
did Grayson James at one point. We called plays. You know, we kind of gave him some clues. Hey, if they move the 3 technique over here, change the run to the other side, he was smart enough to do that. But, you know, he was smart enough, too, that, you know, one game in the second half we were winning. We didn't call any plays. He let him call all the plays, you know. But that was more of a teaching moment. I don't know that I would do that in college. So, anyway, let me talk about
Well,
this.
I guess if you're the OC, you don't want to do that because that's a real quick way to get fired if it ain't going right.
Yeah. So these guys had the too high shell, right? I just put any type of front. Doesn't really matter what the front is. Because I really want to talk about the route. All right. So the thing that we're doing wrong on the wide receivers. So we do like trips and we do like bunch type of sets. Either putting in 81 in the back or maybe right there. But like most people, there's always the guys in the back tend to cross a lot. I don't know how that's such a big tendency to everybody, but it is kind of what it is. So one of our favorite plays is the point man. Okay, actually, he goes straight up the field, right? This guy actually goes straight up the field. This guy is a vertical guy, which is different. So maybe there's some credit there for whatnot. He's kind of going behind these guys, and he's a drag or underneath guy. Okay, so he's actually trying to get across the field. And then this guy is your dig.
So it's a drive concept.
Yep. So we're trying to run him out. We know he's going to be hanging outside because he has to worry about a corner route to try to help the safety. This backer is kind of getting sucked up because this guy's going in his face, so he's kind of moving this way. And this is where I'm saying sometimes we're there. We did not see that in the game. And he was not throttling when he went this way because he would start going that way too. Naturally, his open is there, playing cover 2, something like this. This guy just kept on trucking. He's blocking. He wasn't in the route.
All right. So now as you've drawn it up,
So I'm wanting him to chill. He's looking over there. All the action is over here anyway. 1, this is probably 2, this is probably 3, if I had to guess. Meaning, look here first, dig second, go third, come back over here. He ran a slant. Or
all right.
fade.
So I will give a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, just because I know how we were taught to run our digs, and the landmark was you have to get over the backer. You got to get over the first backer. Don't run into the second backer.
Even if he drifts over here, though, you're going to keep chasing this guy, knowing he's going
No,
this way.
I
and he
wouldn't.
basically opens up a big old hole.
My quarterback would probably say, "Hey man, you got to sit down," and you'd fix it the next time. But the
All right,
first
so
time,
that goes back to this other guy's, the football IQ that the guy's just asking this dude to say, hey, man, quit running way over there. The
yeah,
guy
Pike would have probably gotten sacked because he's looking for it. And when we got to the sideline, he'd be like, "Hey man, if the linebacker's dropping that way and he's not dropping out, sit and I'll hit you." But the first time, I definitely would have just been like, "My route is
gotta
I
try
got to get over
stacking.
the backer," because that's where because I'm thinking.
But why would it, what concept would make you do that? Now, I should say that he's first, meaning he's clearing out and he's coming behind him, which is a little awkward.
No,
Cover
I
the
mean
stack.
that's the same way we ran it. It's the same way. You better clear out.
So you're not
Did by number
going
one.
that fast because he's got to pass you. And then, boom. I would be thinking you'd be trying to find this first window. But I hear what you're saying, that you're basically saying that you guys are looking at this second window.
Right. So I guess my question for me is like, I understand, you saying that, hey, you got this shallow route coming across. My thought would be pre-snap, hey, he's supposed to be dropping 3 to 2. So he needs to be trying to get hands on that go, and that's how I get to wrap. But if he's not going to do,
You're saying reroute here, or you saying get to here?
yes, he would wall there.
Yeah, but it's the run action, which is good.
Oh, okay, I
right?
see.
So they're going like this.
Hey, well then, yes. So now there's one of two problems. Either the rule has to be now you got to sit because you're expecting that run action to bring it in, or it's a bad play design. One or the other.
Yeah. Well, that was my one thing on offense I just didn't think we were doing very good at, which I think tied into that a little bit later, especially when we were moving and motions. They didn't make any adjustments at all. Okay, so I put that they didn't settle. Same thing off of this action. So exactly the same. I can just leave it up the same. The RPO look or zone read look. We could hook that guy. Right here, the backers are flowing. Typically, your quarterback is looking over here at what's happening with this defensive end. If both backers go, if he's kind of blocked, he needs to pull the ball and run out the back door. Maybe we don't want Bryce to run it. He's got a hurt shoulder. He's been banged up. We don't want to do it. But essentially, that's what needs to happen. There's never a threat of that whatsoever. Somebody else was talking about that on the show. Okay. So that's really kind of the deal. When you got a running back that's leading receiver and a leading rusher,
That's a problem.
we got one guy. So I don't know who fault that is. with
The
too
other
much
thing I
talent.
say is, maybe
Any questions, John? No. We clear? We making sense? Or it's clear as mud that we don't know what the hell is going on?
why not just rely? Why not just rely on your athletes?
Yeah, well, we should. You got to give them a chance. Throw some 50-50 balls.
I'm
and
saying,
things, and we
well,
got
I
some-
mean, I guess Bryce did try to throw some back shoulders, and we were not receiver and quarterback not on the same page on the back shoulder.
The screens didn't work. They tried to throw screens. So the one thing that LSU did, if you go back and you really watch, and I'm afraid we're going to see this more. One thing that LSU did was they went drop 8 a lot. And that, I think, messed up a lot of windows. They put more coverage back, and I think they said, hey, let Jamar Gibbs run, but these guys aren't going to go over the top. and beat us.
that not going over the top, but would you also think it's like, hey, we can drop 8 because their offensive line isn't very good.
No, well.
We can wreak havoc with 3.
Yeah, okay. I guess that's it. So they did a lot of drop 8. Drop 8 meaning they only rushed 3. And they also did, if you listen to the halftime piece of what Saban actually said, is they would have the 4-man front. Let me draw it up so you can see it. So it's called a, what do you call it, JT? Zone, what do you call it?
What, you talking about inside zone?
No, when you drop a guy out.
Oh, simulated pressures.
So it was looking like this. Maybe there's a safety. So they still only rush 4.
Right. Yeah.
But he would go
I
up,
call those sim pressures, unless
they called it something else.
replacement pressures or creepers. They're the 3 things I've heard it called.
Yeah, I forgot it. In that zone something. But anyway, he would drop out, and the safety would blitz.
Yeah.
And that was a problem for this guy, our right tackle, because that was speed. And he was kick stepping, boom, boom, like they do. And then he go underneath him real fast, and he'd be holding, and he'd grab, and he'd do all other kind of stuff other than just waiting for that little DB to come out there and put them grippers on him and jab him in the chest a couple times. He'd get too aggressive. So they did that like a bunch, both sides, just sending something. So they got their eyes on there, then he'd be kicking back, and then here comes this fast guy. And they get beat all the time. So, or they would just line up in three or send another guy out there and just rush three guys. So,
Question. Great stuff. Any thoughts on what Georgia's defense did? Oh, I guess I need to put it on the screen. Georgia's defense did that was so effective versus Tennessee. I know one thing was getting pressure on Hooker a very high priority.
yeah,
I watched
they're
the
aggressive.
game. They were very aggressive, and they usually just ran man behind it.
They're very aggressive.
We don't.
Blitz. We send 5, maybe 6.
Alabama does not run as much man as they used to in the past. They run.
I say, when you say man, what do you mean? Like blitz, like straight up 0, or like
Georgia
1?
Georgia was sending 6 and playing 0 behind it.
Okay.
And Tennessee could not figure it out. Hendon Hooker was getting pressure in his face and could not find the open guy. They ran man seemingly 90% of the snaps. Very obvious man, too. It wasn't like a pattern match man. It was just, we're manning you up and we're going to just send pressure from different paths and tell you to figure it out, which I don't believe that is typically what Alabama does anymore.
Okay. Well, I do. I thought it was fun to watch Georgia's defense. And just being a defensive guy, like, man, they're bringing it. But they were hit physical. They arrived angry. They were hitting. If you're going to catch it or if you were going to run it, you were going to feel it. As big as we are and as fast as we are, we do have some dogs, but not enough of that type of attitude. I know we want guys that are play fair and within the rules and all this kind of stuff. And you can do that, but you still can come with a little bit of intensity when you hit folks as big as we are.
So
I saw a lot of guys standing around.
Here's my other question. Why are we just such a terrible road team?
Because I don't know that we go in and just say we're going to – this is our house. Again, that's attitude. And as much sports psychology that we do at Alabama and all that kind of stuff, it seems like, I guess I'll take a stance here that, and again, I don't know because I'm not in the locker room, but I do watch the guys, and it doesn't seem like – I heard Bryce talk about, hey, this is my guy, this is my something, my dog or whatnot. But when you watch the guys play, I don't really see a whole lot of people rallying around each other. Still look like a bunch of individuals. My opinion. Just watching from afar. It just, we're whatever. I got my deal. I got to have my stuff. I'm not putting on money or whatnot. But it just looks like there's a lot of individuals. And that happens when you're not holding people accountable. Did you watch the Ravens game? Any of y'all watch the Ravens game? Calvin and B. Huh? Did you watch the Ravens game? Did you see what Lamar Jackson did?
Oh yeah, when he didn't
Dude
get
snapped the
time
ball.
and
He was pissed off.
It wasn't the center that he was mad at. What is the guard? I thought he got in the guard's face.
Well, the guard got in his face telling him to chill.
To chill out. Is that what it was?
Because he was like, and you don't, I'm not saying you necessarily need that. Please don't take that the wrong way.
He spiked the ball.
There's a lot about the stuff that he's like, man, I mean, right there at that moment, he's like, dude, stop the damn ball.
yeah, and then the next play it almost happened again.
Yeah, like, so he's going off, and then his teammate, and I'm sure, so they kind of came in that. But I'm saying that through that, I'm willing to bet there's a level of accountability from teammate to teammate, whether it's in practice, whether it's in a film room, something like, hey, wake up, get up, do whatever, something. I haven't really seen someone get upset when You don't even see Nick get as upset anymore when they get these 15-yard personal foul penalties and things. That, just someone need to be like, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
Really?
the first show of passion that I saw was when they gave it that touchdown against Mississippi State, and DeMarco Hellams had a fit with whoever that corner was out there.
Yeah. It's I don't know, man. I think the best teams find a way to rally around each other, but hold each other accountable. Like, man, you're too good for that, man. Now, you're 5-star, you're whatever. How are you giving up these doggone? Someone that still asks me that every week, JT, someone asks me about why the DBs don't look for the ball. I think I'm tired of answering that question. They don't teach them to do that. Play fade stop. Right. Anything else you can think of for that? It's just not what we do. We're not gonna consistently look back for the ball. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't really have any more talking points. Okay. What's your question?
On the aggressiveness, I think it was Brian Branch got called for the questionable at best roughing the passer early on. When that happens early on, just like against Texas, when we knocked Glenn out of the game and got the questionable at best penalty,
Yeah.
does that kind of throttle back that enthusiasm where they're like not quite sure of where that line is?
I think that's so. His question was, if you have a penalty early because of some type of unnecessary roughness or something, do I think that contributes to players backing off and not being as aggressive? I put it back on coaching. I've had that happen many times, and you know what? Sometimes the coach say, "Hey, man, don't worry about that." I mean, it's really that. No, you good. You need to be going and playing, and don't worry about it. No, you don't want it to happen all the time, but you need to give him the confidence that, hey, I got your back, man. That one's all right. Now if it's stupid and you're like 5 seconds late, okay, No, but if you got something like that, I think that's where, your coach, your position coach, your head coach, or somebody saying, I've been there with our guys and just whatever, KT or whatever. That was a great, do it again. I'm going to take that 15, So, anyhow, all right, anything else before I make one announcement, JT?
Nope.
Hello.
We are about 20 minutes over.
Okay. Well, I think this is one of the good ones. We appreciate it. We'll get back to some more stuff like this in the future. I think this is what people like to hear as well, being on chalkboard. So thank you guys for tuning in for this and staying up late. Do need to let you guys know I'm still all in Alabama. Yeah, okay. I did put in my tickets for playoffs and for the national championship. Maybe they're not fulfilled now. I don't know. But we'll keep our fingers crossed and we'll keep going and rooting for people to lose and shake this playoff thing up, But John O is always here. He's representing the Tide in Texas. And, they got the Tide in Texas beat Auburn, beat Hunger. Make sure you guys go to TideInTexas.com. You can see what I'm talking about. We got to help people. Everybody's not as fortunate as us when it comes to food and things. So all the donors are entered into a drawing for Tua. Yeah, Tagovailoa ball. Y'all know who Tua is. Or
You
prayer.
hadn't figured out how to say Tonga Vailoa yet?
There's an N in there?
It's
Oh, you said tongue.
Yes.
There's no tongue.
there. The N is not there, but that is how it's pronounced.
All right, or so you can get a ball signed by him, or you can get some Dallas Stars tickets if you're local out here and go see that. There's some pretty good seats out there. You need to watch some good hockey. All the money raised benefits His Gracious Hands, which provides meals for the hungry in North Texas. So go check out TideTexas.com. I know John has asked me to come out and do something, maybe do a watch party this weekend, 2:30. I think it depends on what time Consuela is coming back, but I plan on being out there Here's a well, if at all possible. The game's at 2:30 on Saturday. We'll break it down. We'll watch it all again. I don't know. Maybe John will let me shoot something live out there for a little while, at least a half hour or something like that, maybe. But anyway, it's been a great one. JT, thanks for coming on out. I know you got to go check out your kids and get them done and get back to your battery about to die too. So he checking his battery. We got no power over here, man. Shoot. But with that, man, I'm gonna let JT figure out what button. Oh, is that quick? That easy?
Yeah, it's that easy.
Oh man, I'm giving you too many props. That's the only little button we gotta hit right over there.
Well, I had to set up all these buttons.
All right. Well, we appreciate y'all. We'll be back here next week, Wednesday, same time. JT will figure it out if he's going to be here or be at home. It doesn't really matter. 8:15 next Wednesday. Teagues Take one more time.